so to try and recap and kind of look at what I'm trying to get at here, is that it doesn't matter where you're training, whatever, you know, if it's traditional martial arts, it's mixed martial arts, you have to ask yourself, why am I there, right? And are you there because you want to be a competitor? Or are you there because you really want to learn a traditional martial art and, you know, you want to put all your effort into that? Or are you there to learn to defend yourself against people on the street? And none of the three are wrong, and you could do all of them, right? It just depends on how much time and effort you have. So that being said, if we look at it again, right, the average person on the street are going to verbally try to accost you first, right? They're going to come with you with an aggressive behavior. They're going to try to close the distance by either by walking up to you or asking you for something. Hey man, you got a cigarette? You know, hey man, can I have some money? Something like that, right? To try to get closer so that they can create an opportunity to attack you. Through the aggressive behavior and the closing the distance, they're going to try to use intimidation to intimidate you, but to also to make themselves feel more confident. The way that we address that stuff is through de-escalation of the verbiage and the talking and the closing the distance, right? But also, as they try to close the distance, we're either trying to maintain ours or keep a distance, or even for that matter, we're going to try to close it on them, depending on how we feel about the situation. The same thing with them looking for an opportunity to attack us. We're going to be real clear-headed, and we're either going to know that if we can't de-escalate the situation, we're either going to elicit a response, or we're going to preemptively attack. When I say elicit a response, what's the difference in those two concepts? When I say elicit a response, I'm trying to throw something up at him in some way to get him to try to counter that action, right? Or I'm trying to manipulate him, okay, is a better way to say it. Or I may throw this kick to see if I can get him to switch his feet. So then when he switches his feet, it's easier for me to throw him with this throw, as an example. A preemptive attack, I'm not concerned about that. I'm just trying to smash it, right? It's an impending situation. I can't de-escalate it. So then I throw some kicks and I just try to smash it. I'm not trying to control his body, anything. I'm just trying to hit him enough times that he goes to the ground and I stay up. And then again, predominantly the people on the street are going to use strikes and very little kicking. I'm not a kicker in the sense where, I can do all kinds of kicks, and I've done long-range kicking styles and stuff like that, but as it relates to a street altercation, the kicking that I'm going to do is going to be below the knee predominantly, and maybe some in the legs here. I'm not going to really be trying to kick him in the head. I'm definitely not going to be doing any spinning kicks or jumping kicks or things like that, because too easy to slip on loose gravel and things like that, and you roll out an ankle or break it or something. I don't want to do that. So I want to be able to, in sparring and things like that, and when I'm working with a partner, I don't want to always start from here, but I want to be able to take steps in and see if I can develop a better understanding of distancing to make contact, right? And also being able to maintain these different distances, right? This is really important. Then you have like the seizing, right? The grabbing. You can say push and pull first, but really to pull something, usually I need to be able to grab something, right? So the concept of seizing something, it's not just, it could be your apparel, it could be your arm, it could be your, grabbing your neck or something like that, right? And somebody walks up to you and, he just reaches and grabs your head, right? Again, that's why we want to maintain that distance. We want to be totally aware of what's going on in the moment. But anyway, seizing, and over here, we're still trying to seize. The same thing, we're trying to control something. And then from there, we're going to try to destabilize by pushing and pulling or by striking. And the person in the street is very much trying to do the same thing. Now, some competitions, they won't let you grab the person or push or pull them. You're very limited, right? I would see where people that do mixed martial arts, they have a lot more leeway as it relates to certain things. But depending on the martial arts studio and school and the training, they have a lot of versatility also. person and I make them fall over something, or I pull them and I make them fall over something. And it's combining those things together, the seizing or grabbing, with pushing and pulling, and with striking. And you can say even with knees and things like that. But that stuff is more refined, right? We're looking at the natural approach that the person in the street does versus our stuff. And then trips and throws, right? It's just like the lot to the person on the street. And unintentionally or intentionally, they may grab your head, right? Or they may grab your arm in such a way and they turn their bodies and it's hyperextending your arm, right? But he didn't really mean to do it that way. It's just the way that it came out. So my point is, don't discredit them that they're not able to do something like that. Trips and throws, again, most of the time unintentional, but there are natural movements that we as people do. Picking people up, tripping with a leg. Those are really common movements, and those are throws that we should put our more effort to because they are natural movements. It's just like striking. Striking is more of a natural movement than kicking, right? Balling up your fist is very much a primitive concept, right? But it's naturally innate inside of us. And just like picking a human up or tripping the human, and those kind of picking the person up and dropping them, you can damage, the person can be severely damaged, if not, you can damage the brain, you can damage the body, joints, and things like that. Don't underestimate that stuff. And then again, the follow-on attacks are some of the worst things that we can do on the street. And I say that, when I say the worst thing, it's like they can cause some of the most damage, right? Your head is on the ground, right? This is your head and it's on the ground. And the guy starts stomping on your head. It's different than if I'm standing up and the person hits your head and your head goes back, right? You're not taking all of the force. In a situation like this, they stomp on you, your head is going to get the full impact, or your torso, or that ankle that he stomped on, like that, right? We want to be, yes, we want to train that type of stuff, but at the same time, we want to understand the ramifications of it. So, anyway, both people want to prevail, right? The street person or the trained person, they want to prevail in a situation for self-preservation. The person on the street, they may have tried to attack you because they want something from you. Also, too, you just be two drunk people, that they were at a party or they're at a lake or something like that, or the ocean. They're drunk and then they get an altercation. Both of them may be trained, probably not. One of them may be and the other one not, but more than likely both of them aren't trained. And along with not having training, there's also the probability of not having the same safety precautions, right? When I fall, how do I protect my head? Or, when I fall, I don't stick my hand out, right? I do this, I may break this, hyperextend it, whatever. But if I know how to fall, I'm less likely to get hurt. And when I fall down, can I protect my head? But the person that's not trained, he may not, and then he gets boot kicked in the face. Where if I put my hands up and try to boot kick me, it's going to probably hurt him as much as it hurts me, or maybe more. So we look at it like, what is the difference? So the untrained person, they focus on natural ability with some learned responses. Meaning, maybe they took some martial art classes for a few months, right? They learned how to do a front kick, or they took some boxing and learned how to do a jab and a cross, or something like that, right? Or they took a BJJ class and they learned how to do a reversal, or a Kimura, or something like that, right? You get the point. And then on the other side of it, the person that's trained, we want to rely on our natural abilities and try to, if we can, enhance our natural capacity. But we also want to be able to develop techniques with an understanding of strategy and body mechanics. If we do that, we're going to heighten and develop ourselves. So anyway, again, like I said earlier, if you watched all of this, I doubt it, but it would be great if somebody watched it all the way through. But again, only 2 to 3% of the given U.S. population at any time is doing, and I'm not just going to, we'll say, physical martial arts stuff, right? Whether it be combat sports, self-defense classes, traditional martial arts, karate, kung fu, whatever. And then out of that, 26% of those people are 12 and under. So how many people do you really think that you're going to get into an altercation with? Too many people that do combat sports and traditional martial arts, they're too worried about how good their stuff is against another system or style, right? They do that, and we're better than them because we do this and they do that. You shouldn't even be thinking about that in that context. If you're going to competitions, that's one thing. But you really need to determine how good and is my training efficient for dealing with the person on the street that wants to cause me harm, right? Whether they're just a street person that wants to try to, mug you for some money and, your belongings, or again, some jerk you meet in a parking lot because, if you pulled out and he didn't like the way you did it or the way you were at a gas station and he wants to start something with you because of his ego or his attitude or something like that. And usually those people, they want to try to, again, use an aggressive behavior, try to close the distance on you, try to build up confidence in themselves by intimidating you, and then decide they're not going to want to throw a punch at you. You need to be able to, again, take away that by trying to de-escalate first. If you don't think that's going to happen, be non-emotional about it. Be in the moment and just follow through with your skills that you've been working on. Don't get involved in that. Meaning don't sit there and entertain that person's aggressive behavior and their ego. We don't want to do that. The more that we do that, the more probability that you have of getting injured, right? I don't want to get injured. That guy may not even be, you may have trained and you may be really good at what you're doing, but then this person comes in you in some kind of weird, erratic way, or you're doing something and they're not the street guy that sits by the convenience store, but it's the guy that lives 2 blocks over from your house, and he's a jerk. And he's one of those people that go around all day long trying to bully people and be aggressive in his mannerisms to try to dominate people. Women do the same thing, but more than times than not, it's men. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. And but one more thing to say is this method that I use, this understanding, is based off of what my teacher has taught me or shared with me from his teacher. And it's analyzing your environment, right? If we lived in, I don't know, you live on an island somewhere and, there's a habitation of people there and stuff like that. And this is what people know, this is how people respond to things. I need to address that and understand that. But where you live at and what's going on and around you, you need to be observant of it. I feel that these things that I'm sharing here are very much fall in line with what people do within the area that I live in. And this is the way that I address it. And I feel that in most situations, this is very common, okay? And again, train for what you want to do. If you're just training, nothing wrong with training in combat sports, but if you're training for a combat sport, and you're not really thinking about how people do this or how they react to that, that's not necessarily beneficial. At the same time, training in a traditional martial art and you never really address things or think about things that people may do on the street and try to role play through those things or talk about those things or try to execute techniques based off of that stuff, then you're probably not going to be as successful as you think you should be. That's why I think it's so important. Now, I did not address weapons in this, and that's for another set of videos and stuff like that. And I know this is very long, but it's a lot of time to talk about in 15 minutes or something like this. It's probably more like an hour. So anyway, I hope you liked the video, if you watched some of it or watched all of it. And if you subscribe if you liked it, and or if you could give me a thumbs up, I would appreciate it. Sometimes it takes a lot of effort to kind of think through these things and try to put something together for others to at least to contemplate. So anyway, thank you for watching. I appreciate it.